Welcome to Lesson 12. These are the foundations for the three songs. We have a Presto, we have an Allegro, and a Divertimento. They're all classical pieces, and two of them I chose because they will use a lot of the same skills that you built when you were doing your fiddle songs. So it's kind of fun that we come full circle on it. In the foundations this week, we also return back to the very first key that we started with. We're back to C major with no sharps and no flats. The difference is that now we're doing 16ths, right? And these songs start to use more of the piano. And there's a simple way of expanding your scales to allow for that. In the basic fingering on the music, you see 3, thumb under, and then you go to the pinky finger at the top of the scale. So what you do when you want to extend it beyond 1 octave, when you're coming up through, you bring your thumb under after the 4, and then you repeat it. So what you have to kind of remember is which one you're crossing with. You cross with 4, then you cross with 3, and they alternate. Left hand is like the mirror image, but it's basically the same thing. Cross with 3, cross with 4, cross with 3. On the way down, thumb under after 3, thumb under after 4, thumb under after 3, and back to the pinky finger. So when I do my set and I'm starting my practice, I do 1 octave for the whole notes and for the quarters. For the whole notes, the half notes, and the quarters. And then I do 2 octaves for the eighths. And you can do 2 octaves for the 16th as well. All right? So that's what I'll show you today. 1, 2, ready, play. 2, 3, 4. Release, release, prepare. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, prepare. Rest, rest, prepare. Rest, rest, prepare. Rest, rest, prepare. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a really nice routine. It covers the kinds of rhythms that you run into. I like to think of rhythms like colors or sometimes like words in a language that may not be your first language. It's getting the gist of it, like how it feels, knowing how it goes before it even starts. Those things become really important. So in all of music, you're going to have a long note, and you're going to need to keep track of the rhythm underneath it so you know how long to play it and when to come off it. There's this idea that the sounds in your head match exactly what's going on with the voice. And when you're doing the quarter notes, that's an easy thing to start to pay attention to. And then after that, playing fast is really a matter of being able to group the notes under a larger beat. So we cover that as well. And those colors or those words stay the same, and they happen in every song. Where it gets a little tricky is not all songs are the same speed. So you have to get used to the relationship. And half of the challenge with music is you're going along, say, in quarters, and then you have to play twice as fast. Or you're going along in half notes, and you have to play twice as slow. Well, how does that feel, right? And when you see it on the page, does the part of you that keeps track of the rhythm, the feeling of it, does that connect? And, you know, in a certain way, to master music, you just have to play enough songs. But there is a trick to getting them in an order where one is not too much harder than the one before. So hopefully these songs come in an order that help you. And let's jump into that echo and we'll get on to the songs. So with our echo today, we're in C major, and we've got quarters going right to 16ths. So there'll be just one beat of silence before you come in and repeat it. So it goes like this. Play. And now 3/8 time, because one of our songs is in 3/8. So basically the feel of this, so it doesn't catch you off guard. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ready, play. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so you come in right on the downbeat of the next measure. Each one is 2 measures long. Okay. Ready, play. All right, let's go on. Let's do the do-re-mi stuff. I play it first, and then I sing the do-re-mi, just like it's printed in the music. I need to go a little slower because I don't know I can sing as fast as I played the stuff that you just echoed for me. So I'll go a little slower. Do, ti, la, so, fa, mi. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, so. Mi, re, do, ti, ro, re. Do. So let's do the solfege, the do-re-mi. Do, ti, la, so, fa, mi. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, so. Mi, re, do, ti, do, re. Do, so, fa, mi, fa, so. Do, mi, so, do. Ti, la, ti, la, ti, so. Fa, fa, sol, la, sol, fa. Fa, mi, re, do, re, do. And that's our echo. Just want to mention one more time, echo is really good when you make up your own and then imitate your own. So you don't have to stay with this. You don't have to come back to the video every time. Once you can have your scale memorized, you just jump into an echo. You make up maybe half a dozen or so, and then you go on into your jam. Do it for maybe 90 seconds, 2 minutes or something, which actually is kind of a long time if you ever set a recorder or a timer on that. And then you jump into your songs. So 4 or 5 minutes on your foundations and then right into your songs, and it will really serve you well. I promise. You'll learn songs so fast this way. All right. So let me just show you one or two other things with the echo. So we did one variation where we play the notes and then we sing the do, re, mi stuff. Another variation that is really good to spend some time with is you play the new music in your right hand and you echo it in your left hand. The left hand for most people kind of drags behind in terms of being able to play fast and all that other stuff. So if you do your echo between the hands like that, then you strengthen the left hand and you connect it to your voice even better. So for example, it doesn't have to be hard. So your left hand is doing the mirror image of which finger to use. That takes some getting used to, right? And if you want to, you can flip it. Do the original in the left and then the other in the right. Since this is our last organized lesson, and there's a good chance that many of you will be going on and you're looking for a private teacher to help you advance even more. But one thing that you can also do, because it's the nature of piano playing, you have chords and stuff. So you're doing the echo now with 4 notes at a time or 3 notes at a time. So common in music, I really needed to mention it. And very often what I'll do when I'm practicing, I'll get to, basically, I don't know, 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the song I can play, but it's that 25% I need help with. I'll take my echo into those sections and I'll take little snippets and I'll play what's on the page and then I echo it, play it, echo it, play it, echo it. Very efficient way of getting that in your ear so when you come back to it, it flows easier. All right, so let's go on to the jam. With the jam, not anything is particularly new, but I'm setting up in the higher octave. And I discussed in the video for Make Your Own Music, this idea of open chords. It's a really cool thing. If you're making up music a lot, you may want to check that out. So that's in lesson 11, Make Up Your Own Music. I talk about open spacing. Good little thing to check into if you want. So with our jam, here we go. The first one. So it's just a nice little pattern that goes up. And, in the left hand, sometimes playing the same note sounds really hollow and open. That sounds kind of cool. That sounds cool. Right? So you could change the left hand very easily. So you kind of experiment with what sounds good between the fingers. So I'll leave that up to you. And the second one. Okay, so the next one is 3/8 time. And what I'm doing here I'm doing what I sometimes call elevator. You just go up through the notes and back down through the notes and change in a random way and get used to flowing. And sometimes to do that, what I do is I make sure that I'm doing the fingering that I would use in my scale. So I got to get my thumb under stuff and my finger over stuff organized. So when I jam like this, I just really moving up and down and up and down. I want to get used to this idea of flowing and flowing and flowing. And my scale fingerings are totally on automatic pilot. You know, as you get into complicated music, you know, it's like left hand, it's right hand, it's this, is it. Pretty soon you have like 17 things that you're trying to keep track of at once. You have to sort of break it down to the simplest thing. And the simplest thing that I know so far is that you hear the song in your head and it comes out your fingers. So all that we're doing here with the scale and the echo and the jam is to get you to that simple, beautiful spot where you're talking through the music. The song just comes out because you're running it through your head and you're feeling the music as you play it. So the jam can give you an opportunity to put things on automatic pilot, different rhythms, you know, so I get the dotted thing. I can do that first time in my sleep. When I see it on the page, I know exactly what's coming, that sort of thing, right? And so this is very common, where the music is just flowing all over the place. You'll see it in our Presto. You see it in the fiddle songs that we did. And because it's challenging, I put it here in a way, when you do the hardest thing, everything else seems simple. So there's an advantage to like putting that challenge in front of you. And that's why I did that. All right. So the last echo, kind of a fun thing, if you've never experimented with this, it's kind of this rocking business. And in one of our songs, we actually create a melody that way. So every other note is the thumb. And that's so easy to keep going. So the notes on the beat are the melody, and sometimes they can go right up and down through the scale. And then every other note is your thumb. I'll go on a little bit here so you get a sense of that. Okay? So that's also a very common thing in music. It happens in both hands. Right? All sorts of flavors of that. And that's good to keep track of. All right, we're going to go right on to our song cipher. And some people will ask me, well, what makes a song harder? Why is this in lesson 12 and not lesson 11? Biggest thing is the independent movement of the two hands. So now our left hand is doing a lot fancier things. And some of that is like a pattern that you see in a lot of songs. So it's worth talking about. So in our song cipher, this and then twice as fast. You want to be able to do that without having to look at your hands. The G stretches to the G, and the next note is a C to the G to the C. All right. So within this, you have G, D, G. That's a fifth, right, and a fourth together, right? And here, fifth and a fourth octave. That's very common, and your left hand does that all day long. So, and then twice as fast. All right, And so that's the story on that. The next one is kind of a back and forth thing, getting used to being able to play the white note, F natural, F sharp, and then you go twice as fast. Okay, you can apply that to any accidental where it goes from a black note to a white note or from a white note to a black note, whatever it is, you can use that. All right, the next thing, another reason why it's in lesson 12, we got octaves here. Octaves, G to G, primarily in the left hand, F to F, E to E. So you learn to spread out your fingers. Now, if your hand's not big enough, don't worry about this. You don't have to do it. But as your hand grows, octaves become very important in piano playing. So I just did both hands together. Do twice as fast. Okay, so that's the story on that. Now the next one is like this substitution. A substitution with fingering is, say, one finger is used on that note, and then you're going to use a different finger on the same note. So that's what this last bit is. There's a couple examples. 5, then 4. Okay, and then the next one, and now with the 2. And where that shows up a lot, so you're playing along, right? And then you're going to have to, later, you're going to have to use your pinky finger for a note that goes beyond the 5 where you're set up. So what you do is you do it early. The art of doing the fingering right is pretty important in classical music particularly, because it's so complicated and the hands are independent of each other. So when you're going to do the songs and you see all of those fingerings, try to honor them. And one way of getting them really solid is to do the echo. So this little snippet of the left hand where it's moving around and you've got a special fingering, you do it in half notes, then you do it in quarters. If you're feeling like an overachiever, you do it in half, quarter, and eighth. You might actually end up practicing it faster than you would ever use in the song. And then when it shows up in the song, it's like slow. Yeah, no big deal. Right? So those fingerings are pretty important in this lesson, because if you don't honor them, you're going to run out of fingers, and then what are you going to do? You'll be sort of up against a hard place. Appreciate you joining me. I've really enjoyed sharing the foundations. Do keep in mind that it's just 3 to 4 minutes that you do right at the beginning. Jump into your songs. If you're consistent with that, you're going to grow in your piano playing very, very quickly. Thank you.